What is going on, guys? And today we're going to be testing if the motor oil saver from the Liqui Moly help with the scratched cylinder walls. Apparently it's a cylinder one, but we're going to check it out. The compression, the last compression test I had was 6 bar, which is apparently the lowest number for this car, for 2012 BMW M3. And it's kind of sad that we have such a problem. I did like the product. Apparently it helped for sure with something, because my car stopped eating the oil and it was like 1,000 miles per 1 liter of oil or 1 quart of oil, which is a lot. Usually those cars consume like quart of oil per 3,000 to 4,000 miles, which is supposed to be normal. But mine, like I said, it ate oil like crazy. 1 liter or 1 quart per 1,000 miles, which is insane. So after I put the Liqui Moly, the motor oil saver, indeed it stopped eating the oil. The particular video is incomplete due to I sold the BMW M3 with the S65 engine. That's why I'm standing in front of the Z4089. It has to be something related to the BMW. We're going to be talking about using engine additives on BMW engines in a second, but I wanted to finish with the M3. So what type of advantage I had in terms of adding the engine stop leak additive into the S65 engine on the M3? The first and the most noticeable, the compression test. Compression went from 90 to 120. Also, I did not disable the fuel pump. In terms of that, I didn't do it. Maybe the compression would be higher or lower, have no idea. But one thing for sure, 1,000 miles after I used the stop leak, the compression went to 30 psi. And that's the fact that something did change. Also, the rough running on the cylinder one, it's a chart on the right, went from 1520 nanoseconds or NSS, which was before, and after additive, it's 10 to 12, which is in the spec of the whatever input showing. And on the left, you can see the spark advantage, which is telling us that igniting in the cylinders are pretty much the same in all of the cylinders. But detonation in cylinder one is different. And you know why? Due to the scratches in the cylinder wall. I also test the NSO2 and Ceratec product. Ceratec is the top of the line product, which costs 30 bucks. NSO2 anti-friction costs, I think, 13 bucks or so. Farming tool guy, the link in the description below, he's doing the scientific test on both of them. Both of those products I tested in a period of mileage of 500 miles, and after 500 miles, engine was still eating the oil and the compression did not change whatsoever. Like I said, I still prefer the stop leak compared the NSO2 or Ceratec, which is, on my opinion, the price for that product and the stuff what it delivers is much higher value compared to the NSO2 or the Ceratec. On the long run, NSO2 and the Ceratec should help with engine wear. That's where a lot of people saying that they was using in the M3 specifically, since we have, or S65 engine, since we have that rod bearing problem. In terms of the S65, the stop leak I wouldn't use on that engine specifically. I had to, for example, that I had the scratches, but if your engine running just fine, especially S65, do not use the stop leak product, because like I mentioned, the tolerance on rod bearings is so tight that thicker oil would probably make more damage than the actual using just the oil. So the last thing what I wanted to talk about, it's the actual product itself. Is it safe to use in BMW engines? I find out for myself that the Liqui Moly is the best, one of the best additives that would work with German cars. First of all, it's made in Germany. Second of all, it's been tested on BMWs and Mercedes, Porsche, and more advanced cars that have or has more advanced technologies inside of the engine. With that, I did use generic oil additive, which is this one particular, on the X5 4.8 V8. And after I used that additive and added into the engine, I drove probably like 1 mile or even less. I just hopped on the highway. I got service light first, check engine light, then limp mode, and then engine just cut off. In the middle of the highway, driving 50 miles per hour, it was insane. I was so shocked. The reason for that, later on I find out that I had code for the Vanos system, multiple misfires in the cylinders. Why did it happen? Potentially it clogged variable camshafts, which is the Vanos, exactly the system which is operate the camshafts and moving them. So like I said, do it on your own risk if you're using any type of additives. But the fact that the oil stop leaks is useful, that's the fact. Since I use that additive on multiple cars, on 2 of the N54, on S65, and I think on the N52. I also been using the jet cleaner, which is another additive for the fuel system, which did help as well, because the E92 that I own, the previous car, I've been using that every 3,000 miles, and that car particularly had the problems with the injector. So it was delaying that check engine light, which was popping every now and then, and after using the jet cleaner, it actually stopped popping the message. It still was rough running, but it wasn't as rough as it used to be. I hope you guys did like the video. The whole purpose of that was to deliver that you cannot use any type of additive on BMW, especially BMW engines. I've been using the generic additive on Jeep, Honda, Toyota, and I had no problems. That's why in the first place I thought, okay, let's add something into the engine. And that was the main issue, main problem, and I shouldn't ever use that one. But yeah, it is what it is. I had experience, and that's what I'm trying to share with you guys. So like I mentioned earlier, do it on your own risk. If you wanted to add the oil additive, if you want to extend that period that you wanted to replace the gaskets or so. But if you don't have to use it, just don't use it. Like, I mean it. Anyway, I hope you guys did like the video and enjoying content so far. But for today, we are done, and I'll see you in the next one. I totally forgot the camera.